In this video, we're going to run some wire, and we're going to do it right now. So here we are in my bedroom remodel, and it is time for wiring. Now let me start this video out by saying I am not a professional electrician. I live in Massachusetts, where I am lucky enough as a homeowner to be able to pull my own permit and do my own electrical. So this is not going to be a how-to video. This is more like a how-I video. This is how I am going to run my wire. You may see some things in here that maybe a professional electrician won't do. That's fine. I'm going to do my best to do this up to code, and an inspector is going to come out and he's going to say, yep, you're good to go, or nope, you did this wrong. So any information that you get in this video, you can do with what you please. But again, I am not a professional electrician. I'm just doing my own, and I'm showing you how I did it. And if you are a professional electrician, let me know how I do. Let's get to it. So here is all the electrical goodness that I'm going to need. I am running 14.2 for most of this bedroom. You may have noticed in my kitchen, I ran this yellow wire, and the difference between them is that's 14 gauge wire and this is 12 gauge wire. To determine which one you need, there are codes for it that tell you what you need, but also it depends on what you're going to be using. If I was running this, say, to my basement, where I use a lot of power tools, I would be running this 12 gauge wire, the thicker wire, on a 20 amp breaker. The kitchen, for instance, you need 12 gauge wire for a microwave, for a refrigerator, and in fact, a lot of kitchen appliances pull a lot of power, so that's why they want you to use this 12 gauge wire. However, in the bedroom, 14.2 should do just fine. All that I'm going to be having in here are a couple outlets and no heavy machinery or anything like that, a couple lights, and I am going to do some smoke detectors as well. So for the wire, I'm going to use 14.2. I have right here 14.3, and the 2 and the 3, what that means is this one, this is 14.3. This has 3 wires, a black, a white, and a red, and then a ground. In my case, I'm going to be using it for the smoke detectors. 14.2 only has 2 wires, the neutral and the hot, and then a ground. So I'm going to use that for all the outlets and everything. Then I run it up to the smoke detectors, and then in between the smoke detectors, I run 14.3. So that's it for the wiring, and this is what I'm using for boxes, just these simple plastic nail-on boxes for the interior walls. And then for the exterior wall, I have these energy-saving boxes that have this foam on them, which are actually required by code. I have these old work boxes. I did a whole video on old work boxes, but essentially these wings hook up to existing drywall. I'll use those for the smoke detectors. This is a low voltage box. I'm going to use this to run a cable wire in here. And then I have all kinds of other goodies, my lights, wire nuts, wire strippers, staples, etc. The first thing I did for this process is I ran an extension cord down to some power in the basement, because I want any existing electrical to be removed. Like this really old wire, BX, is apparently still a great kind of wire to use, but that is really old, and trust me, it falls apart when you start taking it apart. So I want that gone. I have this line that goes up into the attic. I want that gone. There's an old box right there that's going to be gone and replaced with new. And over here, I have this, which was basically the end of the run, or the beginning of the run for the bathroom. And when I redid the bathroom, I just ended it right here, and actually I ended up running a new wire right here, and that new wire is going to be the one that feeds this entire bedroom. So if you look downstairs, you'll see that this is the line that goes up to the bedroom, and over here is my panel. So it's real close to the bedroom. In fact, the bedroom is right above here. And actually, my panel is not looking half bad at this point. There were a lot of old wires in this thing, and there were a lot of wire nuts, extending wires inside of the panel, and a lot of this is new. So I'm feeling pretty good about my panel. And in case you're wondering, every new circuit that I've been putting in are arc fault / ground fault combination breakers. So any new circuit that I put in, any of these that have the white sticker, those are all new. And that is what I will be putting in for the bedroom. I believe that top 15 amp breaker is for the bedroom. But I don't have to do anything in the panel for this video. That comes at the time of finish. But that wire that goes up to that outlet is my starting point. I know that that is where I'm getting the power from. Typically, the first thing I like to do is to remove all the old wire and all the old boxes, but since there's really none in my way because there was none in here, I'm not going to worry about that until during or afterwards. So the first thing I'm going to do is nail on my boxes so I know where to run my new wire. These boxes are super easy to install. They just have nails that you nail into the stud. Some have screws on the inside, and you basically just hold it up against the stud and hold those tabs against your 2x4 or 2x6, whatever you have, and nail it in place. These tabs actually hold the face of this out to 3/8 of an inch. Typically, drywall is 1/2 inch, and you want this set back just a little bit. You definitely don't want the box to be further out than your drywall, because then you're going to have problems where you might have to cut the box down or do some fancy stuff with your mud, and you don't want to have to do that. On the reverse side of that, if you set it too far in, you shouldn't have a problem here, but be careful with newer studs because newer studs have this curve. And I think that's been my downfall in the past, where I've just held them there by feel, and they're actually sitting past the face of the stud. So you need to hold it like this. So I, in the past, have held them too far in this way and have had to use an extender on the face of this. So you should be okay if you hold this with the face. And just so you know, these lines right here are all indicators of different depths of drywall. The first one towards the top here is 1/4 inch, then it goes 3/8, then 1/2 inch, and then 5/8. And if you didn't know that before, now you know. But again, you want to hold it about 3/8 for 1/2 inch drywall. So are these marks even useful? What do you guys think? So I'm starting on this wall. I'm going to leave that outlet for now, leave that alone, but eventually I'll shut off the breaker, disconnect that line, and bring it back up to wherever my box is. And as far as choosing where to put a box, I like to put more than I need, but I believe the code is every 12 feet and no more than 6 feet from a corner. So if you look here, 5 feet is right here, and then from this corner, 5 feet is right here. So if I put my box here, I will be less than 6 feet. So I'm going to do 1 right here, and I might put 2 if it made sense, but I think that's a little much. Plus the door right here. I'm never going to have a piece of furniture or anything right here. So this 1 box should be fine for this wall. And as far as the height, I just measure the other boxes in my house, and if it's off a little bit, it's fine. Just try and make them the same throughout the room. And I'm going to go 18 inches to the top of the box, and I'll do that with all of them. That's it. This wall is about 12 feet wide. I'm going to do 2 boxes, one on this stud and one on this stud. I have to move this insulation. Energy saving boxes, required by code. Just be careful, don't break the box, but make them tight. You should wear gloves when you touch insulation. It can bother your skin. Now this wall, I am going to put 1 box as well, but looking around the room and thinking about it, I think this is the best candidate for where a TV would go, either center of this wall or in the corner. So I'm also going to put a low voltage box right here so I can run cable right in the center of this wall, or at least somewhat center on those studs. Since this is a 2x3 wall, I actually had to get a different box, a smaller cubic inch box. And on this wall, I'm going to put one right there in the middle of this. Loosey-goosey stud. This will feel good on my knee. Ow! Just kidding. Cool. Okay, so we got power coming up, and then box here, box there, cable, and box there. Now I'm going to figure out where to put my lights. Let me show you what I like to do. I like to draw out the room on something like a piece of paper or something that I'm not going to lose. This is harder to lose than a piece of paper. Besides, this will be in the room for a while. So I like to draw the room. This is the ceiling. I'm going to do 4 lights. 1, 2, 3, 4. Not to scale. Now I figure out where I put those lights, and then I mark on here from the walls where they are to the center, and then I'll know when I hang my drywall where to make the holes. I'm going to use recessed lighting in here. That's just a personal preference. I like to put recessed lights on a dimmer switch so I can have really low light or have it be really bright in here. And I've done it in my dining room, living room, and my other bedrooms, so it's going to match the rest of the house. I'm going to use these Halo ultra thin downlights. These are 6-inch. These are really cool. I will talk about these a little later in the video. But as far as placement and the number of lights, there's all kinds of formulas online, all kinds of information out there. I'm just going off of experience when it comes to the number of lights. I think 6 would be too many for this room, and I think 4 will actually be perfect. But there is a pretty cool formula that I will show you how to determine the placement of these lights. A lot of information out there. Again, if you don't want to do it this way, feel free to do your research. So this is the formula I use, and there's a little bit of math here. So if you don't like math, you can skip ahead, but this is pretty cool. You take the distance of each wall. So the distance of this wall is 150 inches. And then this wall right here on both sides is 113. So now you have the number of lights that you want. So you take the number of lights that you're using in this row. I'm using 2. You double that, and then you use that number 4. You divide 150 by 4, and you'll get 37.5. That 37.5 is the distance right here to the center of the light off of the wall. 37.5 inches, or 37.5. So same over here, 37.5. Then if you take that number and you multiply it by 2, you'll get 75. That should be the distance in between the lights, 75 inches from center to center. The same goes for this wall. 113, you divide that by the number of lights in this row times 2, so 4. 113 divided by 4, 28.25, or 28.25. So now, right here, here to here, this distance should be 28.25 or 28.25 to the center. Same thing from here to the center. And then, same thing, 28.25 times 2 is 56.5 or 56.5. That should be the distance from center to center in between the lights. So that's the formula I use. Like I said, lots of information out there. If it doesn't work out for you, you can do whatever you please. But this is where these lights are going to go. So if you take a look at the ceiling, I put some masking tape here, and that X represents where a light is going to go. There's those two, and then right here and right here. So if you can get the shot of the entire ceiling, they're spaced out pretty nicely. So now I want to talk a little bit about the Halo ultra thin downlights. These are 6-inch. They have selectable colors, so you can change the Kelvin or the temperature to suit your preference or match the rest of your house. I installed these in my kitchen, and they really are ultra thin. I fit them into impossibly tight spaces, and that is the real big thing that I love about these. So I'm going to take them out of the box just to show you. I mean, look at that. So you have the light itself. This one has a textured lens, which helps with distribution of the light. And you'll follow this wire, and you'll see that there is a box. Some holes on the back. I'm going to attach this to the joists, and basically you open up this box, you put your wires in here, and you strip the ends and you push them into these quick connectors right here, and you're done. And this is where you select the color. So I am going to install these, and then that way I can actually tie all the wires in here, and the only thing I have to do is cut the hole out after the drywall's up and connect this right here. Just pops off and pops on. Easy peasy. So just to show you, here's what I was using before. You can see how much clearance this needs compared to this. These are both canless lights, which means before these, you had this big housing that had to be certified to be able to put insulation around it. And then you got these, which required no housing, that were safe for installation. And then you have these, which you can put virtually anywhere. So I'm going to be using these, and I got one for the closet as well. This one just has a smooth lens, a little less expensive, and these are not expensive. Actually, this is cheaper than if I was going to put a regular light in, and it's an easy install. So yeah, love these lights. Highly recommend them. I'll leave a link in the description where you can buy them. So all I have to do is make sure I have plenty of wire. I want to mount that probably about here, and that's plenty. That'll be good. That'll be perfect. And they also have a bracket like this. You can use this bracket too. Now I'm going to set these all to 3,500 Kelvin. 2 clicks that way, and if I have to, I can take them down. They're real easy to take down, and I can sneak in here and change them. So I'll put the switch in a location where I can get to it pretty easy. One, two, 3,500. 1, 2, clicky. So obviously these lights are in a spot where I don't have to take advantage of the fact that these are ultra thin. I do like that I can just hook that up and hook all the wires up and then just have that one connection to make after the drywall's hung. But for the closet, I have a piece of strapping right here that is going to interfere, and normally I would cut that out in preparation of a recessed light, but I don't have to because it will go right over that. Pretty cool. Don't have to worry about it. So we're probably about 20 minutes into the video and we're finally ready to start running the wire. And the way I like to do it is in a very linear fashion. It makes sense in my head. And what I mean by that is I know my wire is coming up from the panel to this outlet. So from this outlet, I'll run to my next outlet. It's very easy to connect the hot and the neutral from one wire and the hot and the neutral to the next wire that goes to the next outlet. Tie the grounds together, hook it up here, and keep going like that. And then go to the switch. And then from the switch, go up to the lights. That makes sense to me. Some people will go to the lights and bring it down here. And I don't like doing it that way because I know if I run it this way, I will always hook it up where I don't have to flip the hot and the neutral or do any of that. I don't mind using a box like this as kind of like a junction box to split the hot and send it out to another outlet, but I don't like running it to the lights first, coming down here, flipping hot and neutral. It just doesn't make sense to me, and I don't want to forget how I did it. I've had no problems with the rest of the house, and that's how I wired everything. So you do what makes sense to you, and of course, if you're a professional electrician, you know what you're doing already. So you find out where your wire is going, and then you drill the holes, and I like to use a nice 1/2-inch paddle bit like this. First hole I'm going to do is this one right here, so I can get the wire up afterwards in here, and I like to go in the middle of the studs. Perfect. That wire will come up here, and then I want my other wire to come out here. There's holes right here that I can reuse, but over here I want to go high enough where I don't have to just bend the wire at a real tight angle. I want it to kind of swoop up and go like this. So I want to be high enough up so that I can do that. There we go. Reuse that hole, and we got to do something in this corner. So my next box is right here, so I want to do my wire about here. So I'll do these holes about that height, and over here it would make sense to reuse this hole, although I don't know where this wire goes and I don't know how that's run. So I'm going to stay away from that and go up here at about the same height as these over here. So I got to get through this corner, which can be a little tricky. I'm going to have to move this insulation as I go. I'm not going to tear it all the way out just because it's getting colder. First hole, go this way. And I should be able to get behind this stud. So I'll go far enough this way. There we go. And I just want to line it up and try and drill the hole in the same place. And get a little tight in here. Before I move on, I'm going to see if I can get this wire through. I'm going to bend it kind of like this so I can sneak it around and hopefully get through this hole. Let's see. This can be tricky. All right. Well, sometimes it's easier just to do it like this. You can also use a wire snake, basically like kind of like a coat hanger. It's smaller, that you can bend in here, fish it through, attach the wire and pull it through. But a quick way to do this is to take these wires, cut them off like this. Now you have a smaller wire to go through first, and then you can pull the rest of it. Let's see if this works. When in doubt, drill it out. Use a 3/4 inch bit. Got you. There we go. Okay. Now I know that's going to go through just fine, so I can drill the other holes. run this over here first. Make sure we get plenty of wire. I'm just going to pop one of these. Feed this in. So you want this to kind of sweep and not be real tight like this. Like you don't want to put a staple right here and make it like an angle like this. So what I like to do is hold it something like this, because you do need to get a staple close to the box. So I'm going to put one right here. And then on this side, since the hole is lower on the other stud, I'm going to get it out like that. Put a staple here. Just make sure you don't staple through the wire. Right here, going through is good. And I know if you're watching from maybe a European country or something like that, I've gotten a lot of comments that are like, you're running wire with no conduit in the walls. And yep, that's what we do here in the good old US of A. Plenty of line here. I hate old insulation. Yuck. Obviously this insulation is going to be changed out. Not quite yet. Need a wiring inspection first. Feed the wire in here. These boxes are difficult to get the wire in. Probably put a staple right here, but I'm going to wait because I'm running another wire out of this box. Well, that's the name of the game. Drill holes, put the wire through. I got a mask on because I'm going to mess with this insulation. Obviously, I have to go under this window, so I got to go lower here. Obviously, this would be a lot easier if you had wires run before, but I have no outlets in this room. That would save you the step of having to drill the holes, but not for me. There's a double stud there. There we go. That worked. Right angle adapter. That's hot. Oh yeah. Hey, if it works, it works. Now I'm going to run a wire to here. I'm going to replace this. This is for the basement stair area. There's some shelves here that I have a vacuum and actually a battery charger on the other side. So I'm going to run a wire here and just dead end it until I get rid of this. So we got outlet number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And that's going to feed the basement stair outlet, and then I'm going to run one up over to here above the header, and then it'll come down here and then that will feed the lights for the closet and for the bedroom, and actually it will go out to the hallway where I have an outlet here, and I'm going to have lights right here, and that's the switch for it. And then over here I'm going to run a line up for the smoke detectors, and they're going to be in every bedroom and one in the hallway and one in the basement, but we'll talk about that later. There's a line that I left long upstairs that I can fish down. Ooh, really long. Come on, Matt. What were you thinking? There you go. I can get some staples in here. That goes down to the outlet, and then it goes back over to the switch, and then up to the lights over here, which I gotta take care of as well. So I'll go to my first light in the bedroom. I'm just going to hook these lights up as I go. These boxes, or these LED drivers is actually what they're called. That way I won't have to worry about it. I can actually take some masking tape down. These are super easy, super duper easy. The insulation off. Take my wire strippers and make sure I put it in where the 14 gauge goes. Then I got my other wire here. It's going to go like this. That's going to go out to my second box. So I'm going to do the same thing. And these are quick connects. So all you do is just push them in. And they're good. That's the ground. Do this ground. Just make sure it locks in. Neutral. And this neutral. And the hot. Pop this off. And this one. Feed it in there so it pinches it like that. Same thing with this one. Like that. Make sure all those wires are tucked in there. And you're good. Moving on. And to get from this light to this light, I'm going to drill through the middle of these joists. And then on the last box, I only have to do one wire. So that's the end of the run. So these light boxes or LED drivers are all set. Wires all run, tucked up in there. Now I want to take care of the stuff in the hallway. And now I have to figure out what I'm going to do for my lights. Because originally I was going to put a light dead center of here, but then I decided to move the attic staircase to here. So obviously I'm not putting a light there. And then I was going to put a light in the center of this door opening right here. So what I think I want to do is center a light in between this door over here, but then have it centered in this hallway. So from that crown molding to that crown molding, it'll probably be about here. And these are 4-inch LEDs. And then back here, I think if I put one here, it'll be too close. Because if you look back here with these lights, these are all the same distance from here to here and to here. So what I'm thinking is I might split the difference. I'll have a light down there at the end, and then I'll measure from that light to that one and go center of that. So if it's off center of this closet, that's fine. I don't have a light in the closet, but I think that'll be plenty of light for this hallway. So I cut out the template and popped it up there, and it's gonna look like that. And then I centered this one in between that one at the end of the hall and this one. And I think it looks pretty good. This one will light up all of this around the corner. And this one should light up this area and be enough light for that closet. So I can drill a center hole in here and in that one, just so I know where to put the boxes or the drivers upstairs. So I'm upstairs now, and a couple of things. As I said, I was gonna put a light in the center here, but then I decided to put the attic ladder there. So I ran wires, but then I had to take them out. So I still have a box right here, but I'm gonna have to change that box out because I chose some new lights. So I found these things which have a night light in them. I thought that'd be really cool in the hallway if you're, getting up in the middle of the night, going to the bathroom, getting some water. But the unfortunate thing is they are not as forgiving as the super thin lights. So if you look over here where the hole is for this one, it is right dead center of the strapping. So I have to cut that strapping out, and then over here, there's a hole right there, so I have to cut that strapping out. And I'm also, in between those, going to do a hole for a smoke detector, because I need to get a smoke detector outside of each of the bedrooms, and that is a good location for it, in between those lights. But that one, I'm gonna have to shift over a little bit so I don't run into the joist, because that's a regular round box. So I'm gonna have to cut that strapping, and that strapping. It'll be fine with holding up the drywall. It's only that hallway, so I'm not worried about that. Just a couple extra steps, and then I can install the driver over there, the box right here, driver right here, and then I'll cut the holes and put the lights right in there and hook them up, so I don't have to worry about it. Let's guesstimate how much I have to cut out here. Probably to about here. Use my handy dandy tool. Cool. Suppose I can just mount this driver. On this one, the color temperature is right here, and I'm going to set it to 3000, which is going to match everything in the kitchen and the living room. Okay, I gotta remove this box. And this is actually going to be easy because I read a comment. I took out the box when I moved the attic ladder, and I said when I moved that one, I had to cut these because they wouldn't come out. If you just pull them, they won't come out. And then somebody commented and said, all you have to do is grab it and pull and wiggle at the same time. And there we go. A little bit of effort, but I'm going to be sure not to use that piece that I ruined. Then I'll actually be able to return these lights. Save some money for all my mistakes. I shouldn't say mistakes. My decision making, my indecisiveness. Okay. These wires out of the way. Now this box is going to need to go here, so I'm actually going to have to shift that over because I'm going to run into a problem here. So I got to go over about an inch or two. So I'll hack this. So I'm going to cut this hole out. I'm going to trace this. You can use a roto-zip, which is the drywall thing that goes cuts a hole. You can use a hole saw, but I like to use a good old-fashioned key saw because I find that makes the least amount of dust. So we'll cut this out. Okay. Have a hole. Just grab my wire, make my connection, tighten it up, and then let's got these spring thingies, push it up like this, put it into place. By the way, you can use these in a shower. They're good for wet locations. I'm going to try and get these ones at least on by the end of this video so you can see what they look like. Ah. Put it up this way to avoid the strapping. This. And this. Okay. Cool. Now while I'm here, I'm going to cut out the box for the smoke detector. Remember, I have to shift this over about an inch to get away from that joist. And I'm going to trace this box. That is not the line I actually want to cut. I want to cut just shy of that. Tighten the screws. So let's talk about smoke detectors. That one I just put in the hallway, or the box for that smoke detector, needs to be outside of the bedrooms. That covers all of these. Luckily, they're all in the same area. And that one has to be a smoke detector / carbon monoxide detector. And I need one in each bedroom, here, here, and there, and one in the basement. And the one in the basement needs to be a carbon monoxide detector as well. And all of these are going to be hardwired, and the reason I'm running them off of this circuit is that you'll know if the breaker is off. If it's on its own circuit, then you're not going to know. The battery's still going to be in the smoke detector. At least a light will go off in this bedroom, and you'll know that there's a problem. And there's all kinds of rules and regulations and codes for countries, states, even towns, I'm sure. So don't take this as the standard. This is just what I'm doing for my house. This is going to be a long video, huh? So we're going to do the easy one first. I'm going to put all of them in the bedrooms, try and get about 2 feet away from the door, and put them right around this area. So I'll probably put this one in line here. I'm going to do an old work box, so all I'm going to do is curl the wires up and sit them in there, and I'll cut the box out afterwards. I'm gonna run a line right here, 14.2 up here and over here, curl it up, and then 14.3 from there to every other smoke detector, including the one in the basement. And that way they're all interconnected. If one goes off, they all go off. Whoa. Got my first wire run for a smoke detector in this bedroom. And now it's time to do the not so easy ones. So in this bedroom, you can see I have an existing smoke detector here. I'm gonna change that out. These are all wirelessly interconnected, which are really cool, but I wanna hardwire them all. So that mark right there is where I hope to put this one, depending on what I find upstairs. And then in this bedroom, I'm gonna put one right there. And these are kind of in line with the lights. That one that way, and then this one in line this way. So upstairs, that's where my first one is going. And this is the bedroom. So the one in that room is gonna go somewhere around here. So I'm gonna have to clean all this out and take up hopefully just one of these floorboards, drill a hole through here, connect it, bring it back out, run it over here. There's the other bedroom. Take up hopefully one of those floorboards. I'll probably cut it half on a joist just so I don't have to take up the whole thing and move all this stuff, move my Cheerios. And then I can bring it back out here, run it over to my smoke in the hallway, and then bring another wire down into the basement. But we're gonna start over here and try and find that one. I have too much stuff. Figure out which floorboard. Ugh. It's hard to tell. Oh, hopefully it's this one, because this ends right here. Tuck this in. Let me see if I drill a hole, if it ends up around here, because that'd be cool. Dead center. Okay. As you can see, there's some kind of strapping right here. So what I'll do is move over a little bit just so I don't have to cut that out. And I'll still be right around where I want to be. Sweet. So let me go down and cut that out. Now I gotta run the wire. I gotta run two wires, both 14.3. Now, I should be able to just cover this up. If I know that it's good. Fluff this insulation back up. Look, no mold. People worry about that a lot. Next, all right, I think this one is about right here. So I'm gonna cut this half on a joist and pull this up. Oh no, it's split. Oh look, that's convenient. Insulation's split right here. Oh yeah, cool. This smoke detector down. You served me well. You must retire. Hey. This one is going to go to the hallway. You can put this back together. Fluff up the insulation. Okay. So the next 3-wire needs to go down to the basement. So what I'm thinking is going under here, going along this joist, down this hole, and straight down here. So this is where I'll go into the basement, but I want to make sure that I line up in the right place. So what I did was I put a hole right here and put this little piece of paper down, and I want to see where I end up if I end up drilling a hole in here. Let's go down and take a look. My piece of paper is right here, and it's going to be close. Looks like I'm going to be right at the edge of that joist, but I can bring it down here and put it about here. The stairs are right here, and I want to be away from the furnace a little bit. So usually you want to have it at the bottom of the stairs here, but I'm going to pull it this way just a little bit. I'm going to start with a nice long wire so I know I don't run out. As you route these wires, you need to make sure that you're under or over any obstructions so that the wire is routed properly. I'm just gonna put in here. Just gonna put plenty of wire down there. I can go down and hook it up in the basement first. Work my way back up. On the line, I want to make sure I'm behind this box. Feed the wire down in the hole, down to the basement. Pull this down. I'm going to push the extra wire back up into the attic. We got below. Hey, while I'm here, I can hook up the closet light. Anybody else put recessed lights in their closet? Or just me? Probably just me. Side hammer. And I'm going to curl these up ever so carefully. Yeah, kind of like that, with a loose staple. So that way, when I do the drywall, I can just put my hand up there and find where they are, pull them out of that staple, and connect them to the box. Let's get this box in. Oh, you thought it was over, huh? Nope. We're gonna get this box in. We're gonna take all these old wires out. That one right now is live. This one is not. We're gonna follow it upstairs and take it all the way out. So that wire comes up and it goes under these joists and over to a junction box right over there. So we're gonna disconnect it from there, pull it all the way out. I disconnected this from the panel when I did the kitchen. This was actually feeding that basement outlet or receptacle, whatever you want to say. And it also went out to my only outside receptacle, and it also fed the microwave. So yeah, this had to go. And the wiring is pretty sketchy. And if you look closely, you can see this actually sparked up at one point and almost caused a fire. I was actually up here when it happened. I just moved this wire around while I was remodeling, and I heard some zapping and saw some sparks, and luckily the breaker tripped. But yeah, scary stuff. So that's when I decided to get rid of it and shut the breaker off for good. So now I'm getting rid of it, taking it out of my house. Bye-bye. I'm going to take this apart from the other side and at least get these wires out, figure out what to do with this box. This is a pretty handy outlet. I charge things that I don't want sitting on the countertop or anything like that. So I want to keep it. Eventually, I hope to redo this whole area right here and do some kind of shelving that's better than this, or maybe even an extra little pantry area or something. But for now, we're just gonna make it as good as we can. I am concentrating on the bedroom remodel. Oh yeah. That's wiring you want to leave in your house, right? Oh, bye-bye. Love this tool. Eventually this wall is going to come out and then I can pull this back. This will be the actual wall eventually. So I figured I'd put it in just like that for now. Yeah, might have to cut that. It's a little tight. There we go. So down in the basement, these are the two lines coming down. This is the one that's still live. That's the one that we just disconnected. I'm gonna see if I can pull that down. Nice. I'm just gonna follow this along and try and get this wire out. It is disconnected from the panel, so I'm not worried about that. So that line is gone, and now for this one, it is still live. So we gotta follow it and see where it goes. It goes over here, up here, to a junction box. And then this wire goes up over here, back over here, and then up and around here to this junction box. So that's the power coming in, and then this goes out to something else, and that is the line that goes up to that outlet. So I need to find that breaker and shut that off so I can disconnect it and just keep these two lines in there. And the breaker it's on are the basement lights. Boo. So I can shut the basement lights off and take this apart. Now I know This isn't the best tester in the world, but I am sure that this is what I just shut off. Those are live. Those go to the kitchen. Nothing here. I'll take it apart and test again. I just don't want to disturb these wires too much because I'm not changing these out just yet. That'll happen when I do something with the basement. So I'm going to be careful. Pull these out. I'll test again. Nothing. Nice. That one's good. That one. Okay. Carefully tuck these back in. These ones are actually in better shape than a lot of the other ones, so happy about that. All right, one less old dangerous wire. Can I just rip it down? Oh, I can. If you're wondering why it's in here so funky, that was me just getting it out of the way while I did my demo work. But I still wanted to have a working outlet. I can actually keep this outlet, reuse it. That looks better. Now, can't forget about the cable. I'm gonna feed a cable up from down here to start. Big hammer, tiny nail. Route it the same way this one is. I don't think I'm gonna be able to reach up there. There's just a lot of stuff in my way. I'm just gonna get it through here and I can nail it up later with this other disconnected cable. Now I'm gonna find the breaker that goes to this outlet up there. And I believe it's this one. Yep. So my new hole is right there. I have a couple staples I need to take out, and then I'm going to cut the wire, push it up there, and put staples here. And then we'll put it in that box in the new location up there. And one thing you should always do for an inspection is put your panel cover back on. They don't like it when it's off. Neither do I. Another reusable receptacle. Why isn't it working? This wasn't in there very good. Neither is this. Ooh. Okay. All right. All right, guys, we're on the home stretch of this video. Now, this is the power coming from the panel. This is going to come in here, just like that. Now, let me show you how I make up these boxes for inspection. I'm gonna make these all similar length. I take all the wires out. Now, what I like to do is separate all these and then get my grounds and just tie all of my grounds together, kind of braid it like this, nice and tight. Take my linesmans, even tighter. I'm going to take my longest ground, which is this one right here, and I'm going to cut the other two off like that. I'm going to take a greenie. It's basically a wire nut with a hole in the end. This is for grounds. So you can do this. And then if you have to, you can pigtail off of this. But I'm going to have one outlet in here that this ground will go to. And now anything else I do not touch. I just tuck it all in the box. The only other thing I'm going to do is put wire nuts on the wire that comes up from the panel, just in case that breaker gets flipped. I'm going to put these on just so we have no issues. And then just tuck everything in here so that when you drywall, you don't have an issue when you cut this out. Just like that. So I do that with everything. How do you guys do it? Let me know. Nice and tight in the back of that box. All the outlets and the smoke detectors are pretty easy to know where the wires go. This is a different case, so I'm actually going to label these. So I'm going to put all these wires in, strip them, label them, tie all the grounds together like I just did, and yeah, do the rest with the rest of the outlets. If there's any wires like this that are a little too close for comfort and you think that your screw might go into it when you drywall this, you can put these plates up. Super simple to install, just like this. Unfortunately, with this corner, I'll just have to bring the screws out here a little bit further, but that's no big deal. For instance, I'm going to do this entire wall because they're 2x3 studs and they're only about an inch to that hole. So just to be on the safe side, I think code is 1.25 inches from here. So I'm going to put these on every stud. Okay. So let's recap. We got power coming up. Goes over here. Those boxes are all set. Wires tucked in, ready for inspection. Got my nail plates here. Wires going in there. Cable. And it goes around here. Down here. The last outlet of the bedroom. Outlet to the basement. Power comes up over here. And then I got my box. This goes out to the closet lights and the lights here. And also over here, I have my wire going up to my first smoke detector here. Smoke detector in this bedroom. Smoke detector in this bedroom. One in the hallway, and then one in the basement. And then a wire also goes out to this outlet. And then the switch and goes up to these hallway lights. I know this was a long one, and since you're still watching, I'll give you a little special treat. And I hooked these up temporarily so you can see the lights. I'm gonna have to say that that is perfect. Lights all this right up, and in fact, it goes even brighter. Those are pretty bright. And you can turn them all the way down. Dimmable. And now, the cool thing. When you flip this off and flip it back on within a second and a half, you have night lights. And in fact, the night light is dimmable as well. So cool. So there you go. That's the very least I could do for you for sticking around this long. As I said, I know it's a super long video, so I hooked those up temporarily. I'm not going to show you how I did it because it's pretty So now all I have to do is wait for my inspection and hopefully I pass. Like I said in the beginning of this video, this is not a how-to video. This is just how I ran all my wiring for this bedroom. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you like the video because that helps me out so much, and subscribe if you haven't already. And another little bonus for you for sticking around this long is there was a lot of outtakes in here, so I'm just gonna drop them all at the end here. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. And then go down to the switch. You can do that because you can, no, I don't wanna say that crap. It goes up to the lights and the line is done. A lot of, wow, what a hack. Thou shalt not place receptacle within 3 feet of 2 adjacent doorways in the month of October. That's how the code book reads, by the way, in case you didn't know. I'm just blabbering. Why am I blabbering so much? Pretty ugly. Nailed it. Insulation. 14-2, where are you? Got some wire to run now. On the lights, if you want to do the fancy, that's stupid. And there's all kinds of fancy terms like line and load. I just can't get this. Ow! 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 Ah! Ah! Ow! Ah! Ah! Hi. You filming? I hope so. No! Getting these angles ain't easy, bro. Don't look at my butt. And tie the grounds together and go up. You, try it again. Try it again. Really my thing. F***ing A. And then on the other side, that doesn't make sense to me. I know these ones that grab, Don't look at my butt. Hello? Oh, come on. You kidding me? Serious? Screw stripped. This is bullshit. I'm trying to be a real electrician, using linesmans as a hammer. I just can't do it. Just don't have that technique down. And I like to use a nice 1/2 inch, and then you need to drill the holes. And I use, so you find out where your wire's going through. Leave this corner, I'm gonna have to screw it about right here, but that'll be right now. Right now. So stupid. Right now. Right now. Right now. Right now. Right now. Dumb. It's my living room, my dining room, my kitchen, and the bedrooms. This is the last room. Don't say that, it's sad.